In this video, I'm going to walk through some cool things you can do with Drush. So Drush is the command line tool for managing Drupal websites. I showed you in the first lesson how to install a new Drupal site using Drush. And I also showed you how to install a module using Drush, how to both download a module and install a module using Drush. So I'm going to show you some other cool things you can do with Drush though in this video. So just a quick overview of where I am on my machine right now. I have a Drupal site here. This is the Drupal site from the module development class. I am currently at the command line. I am in the Drupal directory for where the files for this site are. So if I run drush status, you can see that it'll print out some information. It can detect that that I am in the that I'm in this Drupal install. And if I just run drush, I get a big list of commands, and so I'm just going to walk through some of these that are cool. I'll talk through some of them, and I'll demo the ones that are easy to demo. So if I go up to the top, okay, first one. Sorry, let me get this straightened out. First one, archive dump. This one is great. All right, if you run. So remember, you have to, in order to use Drush, you need to go into your Drupal module directory first, or sorry, your Drupal directory first. If you run drush archive-dump, it takes a second, prints out this, and actually that was pretty fast. This is a small Drupal site. And you can see that it's created a file here. Let me pull up Finder. Yeah, and I've already got it here to the right spot. So this is the, it said that it created an archive, drush backups, archive dump, this date format, and then this file. So if we go look at that, I'm going to open this up. If I unpack this archive file, you will see here's a dump of my database, and here's a copy of all my Drupal files. Should include all my modules as well. Yep, all my custom modules, all my contributed modules. So that zip, that takes the entire Drupal directory and a dump of the database and zips it all up for you. And that was pretty much instantaneous. It usually takes a little bit longer if you have a larger Drupal site. This site doesn't have a lot of content, so that's why it was so fast. But you can see it's pretty easy. So that's a cool Drupal command. Whenever you're about to do some work on your site, if you just want to make a quick backup in case you screw anything up, just run that command. One thing I want to mention here in the help, all of the drush commands for the most part have a long format and a short format. So archive dump has a short command format, ARD. So if you run drush ARD, it's exactly the same as running drush archive-dump. So it's just a shortened way to say it, or way to type it. Because some of these are quite long, so it's nice to use the short form. You can see, I think archive backup, I think this is different because I think maybe it doesn't do the database, I believe. Archive restore will take one of those archive files and put it back. I've never actually tried to do that with Drush because that seems kind of, I don't know, reckless to me, but apparently you can restore archives using Drush. Cache clear. This is a good one. So if you run drush, so it's either cache-clear or just CC, you will get a list of all the database caches that Drupal has, and you can decide if you want to clear all of them. Okay, if you choose to clear all of them, that's equivalent to pressing the Clear All Caches button on the performance page. If you were doing like menu development and you just wanted to clear the menu cache, you can either do it by going through this step and saying 4 for the menu cache. Okay, that would clear your menu cache. So then if you had hook menu and you wanted to reload it, you could do that. You can also put it here on the command line, and then you don't have that second step. So if you do drush cc menu, it'll clear the menu cache. Most commonly, what you probably do is drush cc all, which is clear all caches. That command line is equivalent to pressing the clear all caches button. All right, let's see what else we got. Cache get and cache set, probably not that helpful. Fetch a cached object, set a cache object. Core config, yeah, that's probably not that. I don't know when you'd really use that. Core cron is a good one, or just cron. This will run your Drush, or sorry, your Drupal cron job. And there's some kind of problem. I think this is some issue with my machine. Normally that should just run your cron job. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix that later, but that normally works. I think there's just something screwed up on my computer right now. That will run your cron job. Let's see. Core Quick Drupal is really, really awesome. It doesn't work in this development environment right now. It's a little tricky because you have to get your computer set up right before it works. But what it does is if you just run drush core quick Drupal, or the qd command, it will download Drupal, install it with a SQLite database, which means which is like a file. It's a database that just uses files, so you don't have to worry about it setting up any database or anything for it. So it'll download Drupal, install it, set it up on its own database, and then launch it in your, create a new user, do everything, launch it in your browser. So literally, like, you type core quick Drupal and then a new Drupal setup pops up. Now it's a little bit, it's not something, if you're going to start a new project, that's not really what I would use, because it's really useful for testing though. Like, let's say you want to test a module out and you want to have a throwaway copy of Drupal. If you can get your system configured correctly so that core quick Drupal runs, it's really slick, because then you just run it, you have a Drupal install, and when you're done, you just take the folder that it creates and throw it in the trash. And you're done with it. Okay, core requirements. Not sure about this one. Oh, this is equivalent to the status page. Okay, so the status report under reports, status. Okay, this is the same information in a text format. Let's see what else. Core rsync. This will actually do, if you know what rsync is, like, it's a way to synchronize files between two Unix or Linux servers. This is pretty slick. It'll synchronize files, like if you have a staging environment and you want to push something to another server, you can do it with core rsync. We've talked about doing it with Git, and personally I usually use Git and then to do my synchronization. But depending on how you have things set up, that's a possible thing to do as well. Let's see. Image flush. When you create automatic resizable images with image styles, Drupal will keep a copy of those resized image files. Now when you go and that's for performance reasons, so it doesn't have to resize it every time somebody looks at it. It'll resize it the first time somebody looks at it, and then it keeps a copy, and it'll just keep showing the copy. Now every time you go up here to configuration, image styles. If you change this, like if you change the size of a thumbnail or something, it will clear all of those cached images for you. However, if for some reason you need to manually flush those caches, you can do it with this image flush. Let's see. Queues. I don't really want to talk about queues. There is sort of a back-end queuing system for Drupal that you can run with this. That's sort of an advanced topic that I haven't covered anywhere else, so I don't want to try to do it in Drush. Search index will index items, node items. So we can try running that. That search index normally runs on cron job, so it was probably already done on this one, on this site, but that just caught it up if there was any missing. Self-update will update Drush itself. Let's see, site alias, that has to do with the configuration of Drush. I don't want to go, that's a more advanced Drush configuration, so I don't want to go into that. Site install, I've already shown you in another video. That was when we first set up Drupal and we did it with the site install command. Let's see. Update DB. This is a Drush command that is equivalent to going to the interface and going to update.php and clicking through this process. Okay, now we don't have any updates right now. All right, but that will run any updates. We're going to do that in a second because I'm going to do an upgrade here in just a couple seconds or a couple minutes. Let's see. Variable delete, variable get. If you want to list out system variables in Drupal, you can list out watchdog, messages. So if I wanted to look at warnings, okay, this is the same sort of information that you get from reports, recent log messages. Let's see what else in here. Okay, so when you install certain modules, modules can add commands to Drush. So the CTools module automatically added some functions here to Drush. These are all really detailed code-based coding commands, and I don't really want to go through these. But just know that as you install modules, you may see more commands show up in Drush. This run server running a lightweight HTTP server, that's part of that quick Drupal that I was talking about, where it just loads up and it launches a site on its own. It's using its own embedded web server for that, and I guess you can run that server separately. I don't really know why you would, but I guess you can. You can do some field commands. Let's see. Create fields and instances. Field clone. I've actually never tried to make a field from the command line. So if you want help on any command, you can type drush help and then the command itself. So drush help field create. So I've actually never tried to do this before. Let's see what it does. All right, let's try this. Drush so this says can I do this all at once? Let me just see. Drush field create article. If I go to structure, content types, article, manage fields. Hey, look at that, it did work. Okay, so I've never done that before, but just to recap what I did there, I did a Drush field create. I told it on the article content type to create a field named city that was a text field with a text field widget, and it did. It created one right here. I don't really know that I would ever do that in production, but apparently I don't know who does that, but apparently it's an option. Okay, this next set of ones, the project manager commands, these are the more useful ones. So you can disable modules. We saw some of this. We saw how to download a module, the Drush DL. You can also enable a module with Drush EN. You can disable a module with Drush DIS. Drush PM info gives you information on each of the modules. Includes our custom modules too. Let's see. Drush PM list is kind of that same stuff, which is PML. This is actually sort of like the modules page. It just shows you a big list of all the modules. Let's see. All right, let's do an update, because actually that's really what I want to show you. So there are two ways to do the update. There's update code and update. The only difference is update code does not run the database updates. Update will update the code of a module or Drupal core, and it will run the database updates. So let's, I usually use the update because you're always going to run the database updates anyway, so I don't really see why I need to break it into two steps. So the first thing you can do is say drush up. That's the short form of PM update. Okay, here. So if you just type drush up, it'll actually go and search for available updates, and it'll give you this little report. And you can see I actually have several updates available. There's an update for Drupal available. That's for Drupal core. There's a security update available for CTools. These two are up to date, and there's a views update available. Now, if you just were to click yes here, you can see it lists here that it's going to update CTools and views. Okay, it won't update. It's basically going to take any of them that any modules that have updates and try to update them all at once. I don't like to do that because I like to update my modules one or two at a time, because if it breaks something, I want to know which modules broke the site. So I don't usually just say drush up and hit yes, but you can if you want to try to do all your modules at once. If you just want to do one particular module, you can say drush up and then type the module name. So drush up CTools. It'll again check the updates, and now you can see here it's just going to update CTools. It's not going to do views. So if I say yes, and it's done. Okay, so it made a backup of the CTools module, then it put the new module in the modules folder. It cleared the cache, and then it ran database updates, and there happened to be a database update for this one. So if I look at drush up again, I should see that CTools is up to date. So in this case, let's go ahead and just let it do views now. Oh, okay, so it updated views and it's finished. And because I just did drush up, it now wants to update Drupal core. I'm going to say no to it this time. Okay, and then it'll finish. So So it was going to do the modules first, and then it was going to prompt me about Drupal core separately. The only reason I said no is because I want to show you that if you want to do Drupal core, you can say drush up Drupal. Oh, it looks like it didn't do views. I guess when I said no, it must have backed off the views update as well. Okay, now that all the modules are up to date, I'm going to drush up Drupal. Okay, there is a warning here. If you have any modifications to your Drupal code, they're going to get wiped out. The main modifications that people do is htaccess and robots.txt. So it's telling you should make a backup. It's going to make a backup as well. We saw that it always makes a backup of the modules. It does that with Drupal core as well. So you'll be able to retrieve the htaccess and robots.txt if you have modified them. And you can also do that archive dump that I showed you right at the beginning. So let's go ahead and continue. Yep, and we're done. Let's see if the site's broken. Nope, looks okay. So that's probably the fastest. If you've never done that before with Drush, that's probably the fastest Drupal core update you've ever seen. It's much faster than any other way. Let's see if there's any other good commands I need to show you. So that's up or PM update that I was showing you. That's probably one of the most useful ones in here. These SQL commands, these allow you to run SQL queries and manage the database. The SQL sync is really cool. It allows you to synchronize two databases, which again, if you have like two copies of a site, you can push the database from one to the other. I mean, you have to be careful. Obviously, it's going to overwrite the target database, but sometimes this can be, depending on your workflow, this can be useful for sort of staging and testing. If you need to make a copy of the production website onto your staging site so that you can then do some work, sometimes it's nice to run this command to pull the stuff down from production so that your staging site has all the most recent content. User commands, these are pretty self-explanatory. You can add roles to users, cancel users, block users, create new users, just get one-time login links, reset user passwords. Okay, remove roles, unblock user. The devel module puts some additional commands in here. I don't think list implementations of a given hook. That might be. I've never used that one. Let's see. F and H. Okay, Drush and devel. I'm not sure. There's obviously some problem here with it. I haven't used it before, so I can't troubleshoot it right now. But it looks like you can list out hook implementations and some other code stuff here. Show the source for a specified function or method. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that in the command line, but it's pretty cool you can. Devel generate, we saw this one when I showed you how to set up the site. We generated some users and some content from Drush. Okay, that's all that content ends up being boilerplate, like lorem ipsum sort of Latin junk, so that's only useful for development. For views, you can list out the views. I appear to have a problem with my Drush. My update must have broken Drush somehow, because everything. Okay, there we go. So what I did, I just cleared cache with Drush CCL, and now that command works again. So it lists out all the views. If you've customized a view and you want to revert it to the default view, that's one of the most useful views commands for Drush. It's views revert. So, not sure if I had one that was customized. Let's see, Drush VL. This, let's see, 0 views are overridden. Let's go override a view. So if I take my hamsters view, and I get rid of the image, okay, no hamster image. Let's see if I can Drush views revert. I think it's hamsters. Okay, it reverted the view because that hamsters view is in code. It's in our hamsters module. So if I refresh now, view's back like it was in code. It includes the picture. So that's something you can do if you've created a module that has a default view and then you change the default view and maybe you push it to production and then you need to update the view because you maybe had an old version of this module with a different view and you'll need to revert the view or it won't update to whatever your changes are. So that's something you might do with the command line is revert a view that you've stored in your own custom module. Okay, and so we're just about done here. The last thing, there's some stuff with schema. This make file is really cool. It's really complex, so I don't have time to go into it all. It looks like it can generate one. Let me see. Make. Yeah, let me output that. Okay, so this command here, make generate, takes your Drupal website and creates a make file for it. And what I did, it just dumps it out. So what I did is I used this, the greater than sign tells it to take this output and put it in the file instead. So now I have a file here, testing.make, which if I open it up with text edit, let me get the fonts bigger here. Okay, what it does is it creates a make file, and this make file why does this look weird? Just 1 second. Okay, here we go. So this make file is a list of everything that's on the site, and it allows Drush to actually build a custom site with a series of modules. So what this does is it says, okay, so it was Drupal 7. It had some, it says what subdirectories these modules are in. Our custom modules are all listed out here. Let's go down to some of the ones that, oh, okay, so it lists out these modules here. And this basically tells it to download version 1.3 of CTools, download 1.3 of Devel, download 3.7 of Views. And for schema, download 1.0 beta 4 after downloading Drupal 7. And then for these, it couldn't really do these because these are our custom our custom module, so it doesn't know where to get them. But we can actually give it a URL that has that's like a tar gz file, just like you get from Drupal.org, and and then you can have it work with your custom modules as well. What you do with this make file is if you run drush make, it will actually build a Drupal site to the specification that's listed in this text file. All right, now I'm not going to do that here, but so you could come in here and edit this and say, yep, I'm also going to install another module, like the rules module also needs to be here in the contrib folder. Okay, if I ran drush make now with this here, it should download, because I didn't specify version, I think it'll download the most recent version. So you can actually come in here and spec out a whole Drupal site in a make file like this, and then tell Drush, go make me this site. Download all these modules and install them and set it all up. So it's pretty slick. There's a lot you can do with those make files. You can download libraries like all the WYSIWYG editors and stuff. It's really detailed. It would take probably an hour or more to go through all the options you have with make files in Drush, but that's a topic you might look into if being able to generate new sites from a template is on a regular basis, like frequently, because obviously it takes a long time maybe to tweak the make file and get it right, but if making templated sites over and over again is something you need to be able to do, then definitely look into drush make. So yeah, those are some of the cool things you can do with Drush. There's a lot more. Like I said, new commands get added as you install modules, so play around with it. Remember, you can always say drush help and then the command name, and it'll give you more details about that command. Okay, and as you install new modules, you'll get more commands. And yeah, that's the overview.